Yo, what up, smooth scalers? Brad here, and welcome to another episode of Word of the Week. This used to be Word of the Week Wednesdays. I'm going to change it to Word of the Week on whichever day it gets posted and you watch it. The word of the week for this episode is Slarty. That's S-L-A-R-T-Y. And you might be like, I don't know what that word is. It's because we made it up. Me and my kids made it up. And I'll explain the backstory and why I think it's a valuable word when we get into it. But for any of you that are like, wait a minute, Word of the Week Wednesday or whatever, like what's that? This is a series that I like to do. I believe that language matters a lot. It controls what we see as being possible or not. I also believe language is just a sloppy tool that we use to communicate ideas. And so getting to clarity in language is really important. I got a video, the very first one we did, I talked more about sort of the context and the backstory. So I'll put a link to that if you want to go watch that. Not a bad one to go watch. And then as far as how this fits into the framework of, well, how do we build a smooth scaling business that will get us the results we want without sacrificing our life and our soul? This is an element of inside strength. It's an element of how our brain works and processes. And if you're like, wait a minute, inside strength, what is that? I don't know. I'll post a link. There's a video where I talk about the 5 Lego bags that make up building a smooth scaling business. So I'll give you a link to that. You can go check that out to get some more context. But for this video, I want to talk about the word Slarty. Now, Slarty is simply a combination of when you become a slothful fart. And every single one of us has done it. So while the word might be new, I'm pretty sure you know exactly what I'm talking about. Let me just describe this scenario. You ever woke up on really any day, but probably a Saturday or Sunday, and you're like, I'm just going to sleep in. So you woke up kind of whenever. Maybe you woke up and then you went back to bed, and then you woke up and you tried to force yourself to go back to bed, but you extended the time that you were just laying in bed. Then you got up and was like, I want to make a breakfast. I probably ought to make something healthy, but the cereal or the muffin or the whatever that just happens to be there convenient, that's not really a breakfast food, but I can just eat something and I can just kind of pander to the lazy side of me, is there. So you grab that and then you are either scrolling on your phone or you turn on a show or a movie or the TV or sit down and you're playing video games or whatever it is. And that sort of continues I'm kind of hungry. So you go back, but you don't actually make a meal. You grab the again, whatever the snack is, right? And then you go back to, I'm watching, it could be a football game, could be whatever it is. But basically all I've done is just kind of lazily whatever I felt like doing. And then about 2 or 3, or depending on what time you woke up, if you woke up at 2 or 3 or noon or whatever, it might be 4 or 5 or 6, you kind of become aware man, I'm annoyed. Not at anything that I can just put my finger on. I just am annoyed. I'm kind of cranky. And I can't really explain why. It's not like somebody did something or somebody's annoying me. Everything is kind of annoying. I'm just in an annoyed state. That is being Slarty. You have now become a slothful fart. And so here's the backstory. The backstory is my wife and my daughters were out of town on a dance convention. So I think they left on a Thursday. They were going to be gone Thursday and they get back either late Sunday night or Monday. So I'm home with the boys and, I'm working. And so I'll get up earlier to try to get my work done so I can kind of be free around 2 or 3 to hang with them. But also I'm not running around taking care of their stuff. So I'm you guys are old enough. They were probably 7 to 10, 8 to 11, somewhere in that range. You guys know how to make food and fend for yourself. So go at it. And naturally, them being kids, they took advantage of doing exactly what I just described, right? So they're playing video games, they're watching shows, they're just kind of hanging out, kind of bumming around, which it was summertime and it's really all right, whatever. This is kind of the time that we just chill. And I would find myself coming home or being done from work and I'm coming out and I'm I just got some annoyed kids. And it's hey, you guys want to go to this? No. You want to go to this? No. And then they're just there's a little bit of chippiness, going on. And the irony is my kids aren't crazy TV watchers. They're not crazy video gamers. They're not crazy, sit on their phone type people, but still this was just sort of what got created. And then they just got annoyed and they got cranky. And so, in my mind, I'm thinking, okay, well, there's a pattern developing. Now this was Thursday it happened, Friday it happened, Saturday it happened. I'm all right, there's a pattern here. And I want to create, so the way my brain works is systems, processes. So I want to create some sort of a framework so that one, we are at least aware, all of us are aware on how to have this not happen. But then also all right, what does it take to get out of the mode of being Slarty once we get into it for a couple of reasons. One, it's they were being Slarty. I'm we got to snap this. And then 2, I wanted to create a tool. And by tool, I mean something I could just use in the future so that if I see them trending towards being Slarty or if I see them when they're already Slarty, there's a tool that we have that I can use to wake them up a little bit, prick their consciousness or pattern interrupt, break through the Slartiness to be oh, this is what's happening. let's go correct it, right? So the word slarty was pure divine inspiration because I just said like, all right, hey, yo, we're gonna have a conversation. So I pulled them around the table and they were being slarts. So they were like dragging themselves, whatever, kind of complaining. And in that mode, I'm assuming you're human, which means I'm assuming you know exactly what mode I'm talking about. In that mode, you don't want anybody to try to teach you or coach you. You actually don't really want to do much of anything other than whatever you've been doing, sort of in hopes that if you just keep doing that, it's going to somehow make you feel better, but it never actually does. So I'm like, all right, we're going to have a quick conversation. So just gather around. It'll be quick, I promise. And then the word slarty came to mind. And here's why it was divine inspiration. Because one, I had no idea what it was going to be. I'm not that smart to be able to come up with that. And what it did, because it's kind of a funny word itself, like don't be a slart. And also, because the combination of words that makes this idea of being a slothful fart is also funny, it just broke through just enough that I was able to get their attention. And so we talked about like, look, we're going to talk about not being a slart. We're like, wait, what? I'm like, being a slart is when you're a slothful fart. And they're kind of laughing. I'm like, listen, here's like, tell me, can't you see this? Like the last couple of days, we wake up, we don't do anything. And then about 3 o'clock, we're just like in that like kind of mood. Like that's called being a slart. And you guys have been getting there. Yes or no? And I got a little bit of like the kind of like curl of the lips. Like they didn't really want to admit it, but they're like, okay, that's kind of funny. And yeah, you're right. Older man, I guess. And so we broke through just enough that they were listening. We're having a conversation. I said, now look, here's the deal. I don't like, I've been there. So like, I'm not immune to becoming a slart or being slarty. And here's what I've learned. There's only one way to break out of slartiness. And it's to do something that when you think of it, every part of you is going to be like, I do not want to do that. I have no desire whatsoever to do that. The slartiness is going to try to keep you being a slart. It's going to try to tell you not to do any of that stuff. So I said, so we're just going to do an experiment. Humor me. It's Sunday afternoon. We're all kind of slarty. Yes? Okay. We are going to go on a walk, just like around the neighborhood. We're just going to get outside and we're going to walk around and then we're going to come back and let's just see how we feel. And they're like, I don't really want, it's just, stupid. But there was enough of like, okay, whatever, we'll go. And so we went on a walk, and probably for the first third or the first fourth or third of the walk or whatever, they're just kind of still like, whatever, this is kind of dumb. And then we're just talking about whatever. And by the time we got back, so we get back, we come inside, I'm like, all right, okay, just quick pop quiz. How we feeling right now? And they didn't want to admit it. I think that's because they're kids. I wouldn't want to admit it either. When I was there, they're like, I actually feel a lot better. And I'm like, so look, here's the pattern. One, we're going to use this term. Like, we are just not going to be slarts. And then if we ever get to that point, because we're human, it'll probably happen again. But if we ever get to that point, we're going to recognize that in order to break it, we have to go do something that we don't want to do. And you get bonus points, or it'll magnify the results or speed up the results if we get our butt outside. Now, we live in Arizona, so sometimes in the summer that's not practical. I mean, it is practical, but only if you want to sweat and potentially die when you're out on your walk. But you just have to go do something. It could be, I'm going to go clean my room. I'm going to order my closet. I'm going to go work out. I'm going to go swim. Like, I'm going to do something that my body's like, no, I don't want to do that, because we got to break the inertia and exercise some discipline. And then the key to not getting slarty in the first place is you can't have the entirety of your day when you wake up, or the first 4, 5, 6 hours of your day, lack discipline, lack decision. It can't just be, well, I'm just going to kind of do whatever I feel like, and I'm going to take the easiest path. That's how we get to slarty. And it's not like every decision has to be like crazy disciplined. It's just that we need to put a little bit of structure and a little bit of intention to what we're doing so we don't end up being slarty. So anyway, the word of the week this week is slarty, or being a slart. And what I would have you consider is, one, if you're raising kids, this might be a really good term to introduce. Now, the key is to introduce it in a time or in a situation where your kids are receptive, and kind of introduce it like it's a joke, it's a word. Be like, hey, I'm just going to start. Like, I came up with this word, and I think we ought to just try using it and try playing around with it. Here's what it is. Like, you want to create it in a way where they'll actually receive it. But it has been a phenomenal tool for us over the last 5, 6, 7 years, whatever it is, to be able to call out like, all right, dude, don't be a slart. Hey, we're being a little bit slarty. And it's like, okay, I know what you're talking about, and I know how we're going to go fix it. So that would be one outcome. And then personally, I think you can avoid being a slart pretty much all the time if you just start your day with a decision or some intention. So have discipline just at the beginning of the day. It doesn't mean you have to wake up at 4:30. Doesn't mean you have to wake up at 5 or whatever. You could wake up at 8, but know what you're going to do when you wake up. So take like your first hour, 2 hours, a little bit, just know what you're going to do. And if you're going to sit and watch a football game or play a video game or watch a movie, you're going to do that right when you get up. Great, but get up and then do something. Clean your room, make your bed, eat food. This sounds, we're talking to adults. This sounds kind of dumb, but do something in the first 30 to 45 minutes. Like, I am in control of what's happening. And the irony is, I don't actually care what the crap it is, but it's something that you're doing on purpose because you decided to do it. And then if you have an extended amount of time where you're going to kind of be like, look, this is a chill day, what I would do is I would break it up. And so what we came to with my boys is, listen, when we have extended times where like you can play video games, like I don't really care, but you can't do it uninterrupted. So we started to come up with a formula, and this applies to them as much as it does to me, which is like, let's say I want to watch, it's March Madness, you got football season, I want to watch football games, or I want to watch basketball, whatever. They want to play video games, they want to watch movies. It's say, okay, I'm going to watch this game, and then I'm going to get up, and there's going to be a 30-minute window, or even a 15-minute window where I'm going to go do something that I decided to do on purpose. So I told my kids, like, if I'm at work and you guys are home and you know, mom's out of town and we're on vacation, you know, it's summer or whatever, I don't care if you guys play video games or if you watch shows, but we would do like a 2-on, 1-off. So you can watch 2 shows, you know, if they're 30 or 45 minutes or whatever. You can play video games for an hour, but then you have 30 minutes off, and you have to get either outside, go swimming, go do something, and then you can go back. And so you break it up. And it's a really good way to keep ourselves out of this Slarty stage in the first place. And then if you ever find yourself getting into it, because again, we're human, if you find yourself getting into it, the key is, as soon as you recognize it, the first thing that comes to mind that's something you could do that you don't want to do, just go do it. And what I'll do is I'll think of something and be like, oh, I should go do that. I don't really want to. I'm like, okay. And I'll actually set a timer. I'm going to give myself 2 minutes just to sit here and complain about not wanting to do it. And then I'm just going to get up and go do it. So that's not true. That's what I started with. I basically have ratcheted that time down now to where it's like, as soon as I recognize I'm Slarty, I'm like, okay, what can I do? What's the first thing that comes to mind? I'm just going to go do it, because I hate being Slarty. I hate being in that mode. And I know that the best way to get out of it is just go do something. And so I do something until I'm not anymore. And then I intentionally decide how much time I'm just going to chill or whatever. So hopefully that's helpful. I got another video coming up that I want to share. It's this experiment I've been doing recently that I also think is a key piece to staying away from being Slarty. And so I'm going to share that in a little bit about like just discipline and what I believe I think might be the most important foundational mental muscle that we can build. But I'll share that in an upcoming video. So hopefully this is helpful. Hopefully it serves you in some way. If there was a piece of this that you liked, that like clicked, post it down in the comments. If you have a takeaway or something you're going to go do with it, post it in the comments. I would love to hear how this is going to help you. If you have questions about it, post that in the comments as well. If you want to get other videos like this, there's a subscribe button, so hit that one. We also have an email newsletter where we put some stuff out that doesn't come to the YouTube channel, so you can go subscribe to that. It's at smoothscaling.co. I'll put a link in the description as well. And then that's pretty much it for the day. So that's it. Don't be a slart. Don't be Slarty. And then use that word with the people that you directly are around and influence to help give them an idea of what this looks like as well, so that they can avoid getting into being Slarty. Avoid getting into being Slarty. I just want to make sure I said that right. All right, that's what I got for today. I will see you in another video coming soon. All right, have a good one. Peace.